3:03. There it is. There's his series. First one over 80 metres.
Well, the final track event of the day is upon us. It's the men's 5,000 metres, and of course it's the one that features Britain's double Olympic champion from London, Mo Farah, but up against a field of the very highest calibre. And Mo Farah on record himself in the last couple of days is saying, this is the one, this is my first really big race of the season that matters. Hagos Gebrewet of Ethiopia is only a youngster, but he's looked more or less unbeatable so far, the 19-year-old. Jaylan, if that name's familiar, it's because he beat Farah in the World Championship 10,000 metres final 2 years ago. There is Jaylan. Several men here could trouble Farah if he's not in his best form, and Jaylan is one of them. Though he's never broken 13 minutes, funnily enough, his personal best is only 13:09. That's modest. This young man has. He holds the world junior record for 5,000 metres. That was in Paris last year, 12:47, and that is quite a lot quicker than Mo Farah has ever been. Moses Kipsero, the Ugandan, double Commonwealth champion in 2010. Alamiru, a very fast finisher, 54:02, his last lap to win in Rome 3 weeks back. Vincent Chepkok, he's another man who has run a long one to 13 minutes, 12:51. Demelash, a 13:03 man, the Ethiopian. Mark Kiptu, the African champion last year over 5,000 metres, 37 years old though now. Keegan Gabius, the German, who was European silver medalist last year. Adem, world youth champion at 3,000 in 2010. And Collis Birmingham of Australia, in good form. Sharpened up with a 1,500 win in Belfast a few days ago. Chris Thompson in the green, acknowledging the introduction from the crowd there. He's in good form, Chris Thompson, prior to a bit of a hiccup in Eugene when he said he was just overtrained a month or so ago. And Tom Farrell is in there as well for Great Britain, looking for a season's best. Well, seven men in this field have broken 13 minutes. Mo Farah is one of them. And I was just looking for Mo Farah in that lineup as they introduced the field. And I didn't actually see him, I have to say, but he's obviously out there. He slots into third place behind Gathimba and Barusai, the two pacemakers. And we're looking for laps of around 61.5, 62 seconds. And certainly it looks to me like Gathimba's gone off just a little bit too enthusiastically. Mo Farah in fourth place now. And certainly they've gone off too fast. I hope Gathimba and Barusai both smart enough to have a quick look round. Keegan in third, Farah in fourth, Kipsero in fifth, then Chepkok in sixth. There is Mo Farah. Of course, last week he won the European Team Championship 5,000 metres in Gateshead with a very, very slow winning time. But wait for it, his last lap in Gateshead was 50.89, and we think that that's a world record for a 5,000 metres last lap, the fastest ever last lap. It's the sort of time that Christian Uhurugu was only just quicker than today when winning that 400 metres in the women's race. So Farah is gradually developing his armoury this year into the full range. We think his strength is good. We know his speed is good. And the challenge really for these other great racers here, Alamiru and Kipsero and Gebrewet and Jaylan, is to test Mo Farah with a fast time. Because if they let it loiter, if they let the pace slow in the latter stages, then they're in for a hiding. 64.44 there, that lap. So they went off too quickly. Now they've adjusted things and they're going too slowly. Let's hope it averages out as they head down the back straight. But they want to be reaching 800 metres at the end of this straight in about 2 minutes 3 seconds. Well, there is Mo Farah, loping along with that large raking stride of his, and they reach 800 there in about 2:03. So I think they've got things back on track. Let's hope they can steady it down now, because it's far more tiring in a race like this, 12.5 laps, if the lap times accelerate and slow down and accelerate and slow down. It's much easier if you can get into a nice steady rhythm, and frankly that is the job of the pacemakers, the two men out in front there, Gathimba and Barusai.
Well, certainly Farah knows that he has the pace on that last race of the last lap of 50.8, and he knows that he's got real basic speed, and the rest of them know that they're going to have to run a quicker race to run that sort of speed out of his legs, because the difference between Mo Farah of a few seasons ago and Mo Farah now is he has a real confidence in all aspects of running these races. He really does. He was once indecisive, let's say that, but at the end of the day, he's gone to America, he's got his act together, and of course winning those 2 Olympic titles last year, he knows how to race, and the rest of them now, of course, know him. They know what he can do, and it's interesting to see how they manage him.
Well, he does know how to race, as Mo Farah, but of course we mustn't forget that, about 3 weeks ago in Eugene, he was beaten, was Mo Farah. His first 5,000-metre loss for a couple of years, when he lost out to Edwin Soy in Eugene. And I believe he's a different athlete now. There was talk of a slight illness then, although these three are building up a big lead. Gathimba and Barusai, and there behind them, Mike Keegan. Now, Mo needs to watch Mike Keegan, but he's got 25 metres on the rest of the pack. He's a 12:58 athlete. He paced the London Marathon this year, actually, to 25 kilometres.
Ari Manier then, in the javelin. 6th round for him. Now, what can he do? He's a little bit more than his... Oh, and that's not bad. That's not bad. Manier has got Tarabi at 83.03. Now, has he gone further than that to go into 2nd place? He really winds up, doesn't he? Plonks the foot down, then unleashes that 800-gram javelin. He's a big fella, very much in control. Got the elevation right. Looks as though his body language suggests he's quite happy with that. Now then, he needs to beat 83.03, and 83.94 is the leading throw of Andreas Thorkildsen. Now then, I don't think he's done it from his expression. 83.26 is in 2nd place. He's moved ahead of Tarabin.
Well, back to this 5,000 metres, and there is Mo Farah. He's slotted in at the moment in 7th place. He's 4th in the big chasing pack with 3 athletes away, 2 of whom are pacemakers. And then in 3rd place, Mike Keegan is isolated now. The pacemaker's getting away from him. They're coming up to 2,000. The first kilometre, by the way, was 2:36.9. And as they head down the back straight, they're 2,000 metres in 5:15. That's at 2:38. It has been a rather faltering pace, I must say. Nobody really keen to go with the quick tempo being laid down by now the solitary pacemaker Barusai. That's Jeffrey Barusai, who ran 7:44 during the Rome Diamond League to 3,000 metres. But this is a little surprising. Maybe the wind out there, Stuart, is stronger than it seems here at the stand. I think we're pretty sheltered here, and I think the wind might be affecting them.
Yeah, it might be, but I think what we are doing, let's not worry about the pace at the moment, because what we have got is everybody there, and we've got a good race. I think we are going to have a good race here. It'll be very interesting to see how this race emerges now, because everyone is there, as you can see, and the bunching up, no one has yet really stretched them out. But the interesting thing is that the group in which Farah was there have caught them. There he is behind Kipsiro, the Ugandan, who had that double in the Commonwealth Games. I remember that. It was a cracking double. Last 53 seconds of the last lap of the 10,000 he ran to win the Commonwealth double. They gave him a house, they gave him a car, a 4x4. They gave him everything after that in Uganda. And... But so he's always there. He's got a sprint finish on him as well. Absolutely intriguing, this.
It is indeed. As they come into the straight, there's still Barusai in yellow glancing around as pacemaker, but they're leading the pack also in yellow is Chetcott. Then Kipzero, the Ugandan. Keegan, Birmingham, Collis Birmingham, the tall figure there with a headband for Australia. Mo Farah tucked in right behind them. And frankly, I have to say, I think this is playing into Mo Farah's hands. They know he's got supreme speed at the moment, so what are they going to do? Somebody's going to have to kick in hard in the next couple of laps to test the Brit.
Interesting that Gebriwet and Jaylan, remember the man who beat Mo into the 10,000 metre gold medal in the World Championships last year with that terrific sprint finish, he and Gebriwet are just latched on to Mo Farah. They're right behind him.
Well, 4.5 laps to go, and they're coming, when they come down in front, 5.5 laps to go actually, excuse me. When they come down in front of us, they'll go to 3,000, but it hasn't been nearly as quick as we expected. The first kilometre 2:36, the second kilometre, well, it was only a shade inside 2:39. And look, they're bunching now on the top end there. Nobody really wants it, do they? There's no takers. Barusai has tried his best, but he's 35, 40 metres out in front. And they're now with Mo Farah leading the pack. Chepcock behind him. And the rest of them, well, frankly, just following whatever pace Mo Farah dictates now. Alimiru in the light blue on Mo Farah's shoulder. Chris Thompson, who was right at the back of the field a couple of laps back in the green, is up there towards the back of the pack with Arne Gabius of Germany. Tom Farrell of Great Britain in the orange is beginning to struggle off the back of the group. But down the back straight, Mo Farah, well, frankly, looks like he's out on a Sunday morning jog in those dark glasses, just loping along with 4.5 laps to run. Looks very comfortable indeed. Arusai, the pacemate Arusai, still 30, 40 metres out in front, but he's serving no purpose whatsoever. He might as well drop out.
A word about Collis Birmingham, the tall figure from Australia, how well he did in the World Cross Country Championships. I admired him the way he chased after the Africans in that race. He really did. He went for them, and he faltered in the end, but he got 8th place. But I tell you what, he had showed some real character there. He's not afraid to mix it. Chepcock and Farah are there, of course, and they're all bunching again.
They are as they come to the bell, and that's the young Ethiopian Gebriwet who hits the front with the front of the pack as Barusai moves aside, as you can see there in yellow. But Mo Farah holding on to that inside line. Gebriwet just indicating he's getting clipped from behind with a finger there, as if to admonish whoever was behind him and clipping his heels.
Yeah, Jaylan is right there with him. Jaylan, the man, as I said, who beat him, he's in 2nd place at the moment. The man who beat him in the World Championships last year is sitting there with just over 200 metres to go.
Well, 3.5 laps to go.
Up this third. Yes, of course.
It is Farah from Jaylan, Birmingham, giving a good account of himself so far. Chris Thompson is up there in about 8th place in that green vest on the inside. Gebriwet, who forced himself to the front at 300 metres ago, suddenly finds himself back in about 7th or 8th. But it's still Mo Farah making the decisions. He's in control. Nobody else is trying to wrestle control from him. Gebriwet has another go. A lap after he tried the first time. He moves to the front as if to try and upset the tempo, the rhythm of Mo Farah's race. And Farah pushes to the front once again. 3 laps to run. And it's Gebriwet from Farah. Chepcock is there. Demelash is there. Collis Birmingham on the inside. Big, powerful Australian. Towers over the rest of this field. Alimiru. And Jaylan back in 5th place in the orange vest there. A little bit boxed in. Kiptu is there as well. He's got real strength, we know that. Although he was only 18th in Eugene in the 5,000 metres. But this is becoming a kicker's race, there's no doubt about it. 1 kilometre to run now, 2.5 laps. And nobody yet has really accelerated. Look at that kilometre, 2:52. Dawdling tempo, the slowest of the race. Gebriwet then, from Farah. And they're bunching on the bend there. This will be an interesting last 800. Chris Thompson upsets the apple cart, hits the front, decides he's had enough. He ran 27:40 for 10,000 back in early in the summer, April, May time. Had a bad run at Eugene, but now Thompson with 900 to run hits the front and says, I'm going to make a race of this. At 64.7 there, takes them through to 800 to run. Arne Gabius in front of us, dropping out by the way. Tom Farrell struggling too, he's about 80 metres down. But Thompson into the back straight in this penultimate lap. Gebriwet in 2nd, Farah in 3rd, chasing his British colleague. Alimiru is there in 4th place. Birmingham just beginning to struggle, back in 7th place. Kipsiro is up there as one of this group of 6 that are away, as Mo Farah continues to look very, very relaxed and in control. 500 metres to run then. And it's Mo Farah with Gebriwet on the inside. And this is almost a rerun of the European Team Championship 5,000 last week. I'm so surprised nobody's pushed it harder from out. But it's Gebriwet who has recorded a series of wins on the circuit this year into the last lap with Mo Farah on his shoulder. Alimiru, who ran so well through the 2012 season but couldn't produce the goods in the Olympic Games. These 3 away, 300 metres to run. 2 Ethiopians and Mo Farah born in Mogadishu, moved to the UK when he was 11, and nobody has embraced the Union Jack quite as tightly as has Mo Farah. Based in North America now, kicks in hard there with 200 to run. The crowd here in Alexander Stadium going berserk as Farah holds on to the lead. With Alamiru on his shoulder, there is a challenge. Gebriwet looks beaten and into the straight now. It was Jaylan and Daegu, but Farah finds another gear and kicks away, and the grimace is there. He's 2 metres clear, 3 metres clear, and he's going to take it. And the last lap there from Mo Farah, 53.2, and he controlled the race in much the way he did last week against European competition. Here, the best that Africa could throw at him is beaten once again, and Mo Farah gives the home crowd the final victory that they were looking for. What a great run, and Stuart, that was so reminiscent of one win after another from Mo Farah in the last couple of years. These Africans just cannot find a way to unlock any weakness.
No, and the difference between, as I began to say earlier, that Mo Farah can run it now how he wants. He can run it from the back of the field, he can run it from the front. They never know how, as you say, they just do not know how to tackle him now. I mean, Alamiru there really looked as though he was going to challenge him down the home straight, but when you know that you've got a man who can run 50.85 off the last lap after you've run all that way, well, 53.2 last lap after that, and Gebriwet, he must have thought, well, if I'd have started earlier, could I have beat him? It must be going through their minds. Did we leave it too late? Should we have gone earlier? Remember, Alamiru must have thought, well, hang on a minute, I was close, I was very, very close, and if we'd have pushed the pace early, they're going to have to do that, because if they run a race like that in the World Championships, Mo Farah is going to win it again. There's no question.
And that was very reminiscent, I suspect, of what the World Championship final might look like if they run that sort of race. So they've got to find a way of beating him. He ran 50.8 last week, the fastest ever final lap in a 5,000. Why on earth did they think they could outsprint him today? Bottom line is they couldn't, and we knew it, frankly, before the race.
It was a very, very solid performance once again from Mo. He was down the field early on as the pacemakers and 1 or 2 others went with him, but he, in the end, knew exactly what he was doing. He's in control of self. There's no question about that at all.
Doesn't look very extended by that, does he, Mo Farah? Recovering quickly.
I think we can bring you up to date with the result of the men's 800 metres. Actually, Mohamed Aman, 1:45.18. Andre Olivier of 1:45.64. And Andrew Assaji, just ahead of Eric Sawinski and Gareth Warburton, coming through very strongly in the final stages. Wicharek and Mohamed and Shearer, of course. It was an interesting one, that. They didn't quite go with the pace. We can bring you up to date with the result of the men's javelin in a moment, just to update that